All right. Need a countdown? Just
Whenever
go.
you're ready,
All right.
give me a countdown.
So 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm Sasky, and this is Mirror's Edge.
I'm Ignite. I'm going to be commentating around a little bit. If you need me to explain anything, just tell me.
So right away at the beginning, we skip training because training is too hard. And after that, we keep doing these side jump boosts, which basically just instantly put us to full speed for some reason.
Yeah, doesn't take like 8 seconds to get full speed without them or something?
Yeah, something dumb like that. So earlier you saw a kick glitch for the first time, which is a weird trick in this game where you kick off a wall, and then after the animation finishes, the game thinks for 1 frame that you are standing on the ground for some reason. And so on that 1 frame, you can jump or slide or side jump or whatever the hell you want.
Use it to cancel fall damage so you can fall long distances without dying.
Yeah. So it also resets your fall height. So just run past every guard in the game. Missed a kick glitch there. So normally, since the kick glitch is a 1 frame trick, it would be incredibly hard normally, but we can just bind jump to our mouse wheel and then get it every time. Unless you're dumb and you forget to scroll like I did. So here there's kind of a dumb thing where if you go too quickly here, the helicopter is too high and you won't be able to grab it. So you have to intentionally lose a little bit of speed to be able to grab the helicopter. So Prologue and Chapter 1 are my 2 least favorite parts of this game. Just because insane amount of resets. I looked at my stats once on the splits.io page, and it was depressing. Something like 99.5% of my runs died of Prologue. If you land on one of the elevated things, you can avoid having to roll there, but I didn't. So there you saw another glitch that we're going to be using a lot in this run, which is the slide glitch, or used glitch. People have a lot of different names for every trick in this game. Essentially by binding our mouse wheel to use button and then doing some other action that interrupts the use animation. Oops, let's a tutorial pop up. Anyways, for the use glitch, by inputting more than 1 command every single frame, the game sort of freaks out and just does whatever that button was supposed to do. And it works for every item, everything you can interact with in this game, which is nice. So coming up right here is the first big skip in the game, which hopefully I won't screw up.
Nice.
No!
Oh. Ouch.
I hate this trick.
Me too.
But essentially, by getting out of bounds, which we do by getting into this area, which unloads the previous area.
Nice.
Oh, that was scary. And then going back out there, we can just jump right to here, which is later in the level. Now we're later in the level, and probably my least favorite part of the entire game, flight. That was interesting.
What? I've never seen that.
Yeah, I've never seen that either. It's called a hidden springboard, because there's a lot of points in this game where you do a springboard off of what's usually intended, and then you go sort of flung up in the air. And there's a bunch of spots in the game where you can just do a springboard for no reason. Also, you can run into everything for no reason.
Some hidden springboards are really useful. and are actually used in the run. Some are just completely useless and awful. Like that
My
one.
God.
Oh. Those guards are the worst.
Well, then elevator party. The guards just refuse to leave the elevator. It's very rare, but it does happen. It's another thing you'll see here. Oh my God, I'm gonna die again. The difference in angle between getting a wall run and getting a wall climb is very, very slight. There's one trick later in the run where you basically need to get the maximum possible angle into the wall that will get you a wall boost instead of a wall climb. If you time that just right, you can clip up through the elevator. But it does, I think, differ a tiny bit depending on loading times.
Yeah, if he did clip out of that elevator, he would have like walked off of it as the yellow room he was just in was loading in.
Like I said, I really hate Chapter 1.
You're not the only one.
Chapter 1 is probably the most polarizing chapter in the entire game. Everyone either loves it or absolutely hates it. I definitely hate it. You get a low kick glitch, you can avoid having to roll there, but don't do it. And again, same thing there. There was a new skip discovered just recently that skips this section here. And as far as I know, the only person who has ever gotten it in a run is Rek. And it requires you to get the elevator clip I mentioned earlier.
How much time does that even save? Like 15 seconds?
No, not even. It saves like 8 seconds.
Nice.
Well, I think the clip saves another 5, but yeah, that skip itself saves 8 seconds. Another small skip there. That skip's having to run all the way around and grab the zip line, which is really annoying and really slow. Alright. So the next 2 chapters are my favorite 2 chapters in the game. Coming up right here, it's going to be one of, if not the hardest. No, definitely not the hardest anymore. But one of the hardest tricks in the game. So right there, did a kick glitch to get out of bounds. And we're going to go for something called cannoli, which is where you yell, "Cannoli, cannoli, take me to Storm Drainioli." And if the game doesn't hate you, you'll go straight to Storm Drain. Right now I'm walking on a very narrow ledge just outside of the wall. I'm going to do a kick glitch chain.
Nice.
Hey, I got it. That trick is really stupid.
If he missed that, I don't even know how much time you would lose, like a lot.
Yeah, it's like 45 seconds or something.
That's about how much time that skip saves, too, so.
Yeah. That wall climb into wall run to hit that button is also really dumb. So now we're in Storm Drains, and the frame rate's kind of bad. The game doesn't properly unload the previous area. Doesn't feel too bad right now. On my computer at home, it goes from 60 FPS to about 40, which doesn't seem too bad, but in this game it really destroys you. You can skip that springboard by jumping on the railing, but if you do that, it doesn't hit the checkpoint, so it's a little bit risky. We're going to do a hidden springboard up to here, which skips part of the next section. There's about 5 different hidden springboards you can do. Oh my god. The kick glitch angle was really bad, and I tried to save it, but I forgot that you can't save it in that way. So I did a different hidden springboard there, just to show. People like to complain because the first hidden springboard I do, I'm pretty sure I am the only person to do it, even though it's not any harder than any other method. Coming up, we have Storm Drain's exit climb, which generally goes pretty well, but occasionally can lose just minutes if your hands just forget what they're doing. Which happens about once every few weeks. So instead of going around the normal way and climbing up all the pipes and stuff, we're just going to do this. We're going to do it again. And we're good.
Nice.
So trick tends to either go perfectly or loses 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Fortunately, there's nothing we can do to make this go faster. We just have to wait for it. If you played that game casually, you might remember that part being quite tricky. But if you play on easy and just go through that route, the guards will pretty much never kill you. Ugh.
Too early.
So I did an elevator clip there to get on top, and then I tried to walk out just as it was loading around me, but I walked out slightly too early. Not a big deal. It only loses about 2 seconds. And there's the chase. If I had gotten that clip the way I intended to, Jackknife would be invisible right now. But unfortunately, we have to look at his dumb face. Chase is another section where there's just a million ways to do it. There's a chain you can do that goes straight from near the beginning to the end, but it's really, really hard.
It's insane.
Pretty much nobody does it every time in runs. And I think only Rec does it to try to save time as a last-ditch attempt. Normally I would quit out here because it's slightly faster and no loads, but since we're playing an RTA, there's no point. So casually, this was probably my least favorite checkpoint in the game, but thankfully with kick glitches we can just skip right to the end, which is nice because the normal route is really hard. It's harder than half the tricks in this game.
So this is chapter 3. There's a skip in this checkpoint called 3A to 3C. It takes about
trying once.
40 seconds, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like basically, like you go into where 3B is, but it's not like loaded in, basically, and you just like do an insane kick glitch chain into the checkpoint for 3C, and then you quit out and load back in. You're in 3C. You skipped 3B completely. But it's pretty hard and saves about 40 seconds.
This pole is giving me a lot of trouble.
Pole's awful.
I don't know why I did that method. Oh my. I hate 3A. 3A is the worst. Yeah, I think I'm just going to not do 3A to 3C skip and not lose another 30 seconds. Right, so here's the method I usually do. There we go. Basically, by pressing the hint key in the middle of the animation, Faith will just spin around. You can use that to grab walls. Nice grab. So as you may have noticed, hitting any object in this game on the ground just completely kills your speed, which is quite nice. In a game just all about building momentum. So this skips the rest of 3A and puts me directly in office. Grab the gun here just so we can shoot out this pane and the door up top. Saves maybe like half a second. That is unless I decide to just side jump into every object in the level. So I was trying to kick glitch over the gap, but I hit the railing instead. That's one of 2 or 3 places in the game where having free scroll saves a few seconds. So normally if you press it or just use the use glitch normally, you have to wait a few seconds for the door to open. If you free scroll it, it opens immediately for some reason. This is 3C, which is one of the hardest checkpoints in the game. There aren't any real tricks or anything in it. It's just hard. If you die at any point from the beginning till basically the end, you have to start it all over again. And all of the hard tricks are before that checkpoint. This one, which I got, thankfully. That trick I just did, though, used to kill about half my runs, which was terrible. Small little skip there, I think. It was discovered by Alexander 5, I think. Skips having to climb the pipes. So I am going to quit out here just because it saves time. So the elevators have 2 sort of parts to them. I mean, one, they do take you from one part of the level to the next by going up or down, as elevators tend to do. But part of the journey is the level loading, and part of it is just what's programmed for the elevator to take the journey. So once the level is sort of loaded, well, your elevator trip basically just depends on, oh my god, depends on how fast your lows are.
In this checkpoint, there's a really insane kick glitch called the Crane's kick glitch that saves about like 30 to 40 seconds or something, but it's insanely hard for whatever reason. Yeah. And it takes you like from relatively close to this area to like the end of the level, and he's just doing an alternative route. Still not the intended route, but alternative route.
There we go. That kick glitch angle gets really weird.
Yeah.
A little skip there that skips having to run around on the awning. Turn around in midair and then hold the opposite direction. You slide off it, which is nice. So, you know, pretty solid Chapter 3. Only 6 very bad deaths. Now coming up is the first very, very big skip in the run. The second biggest skip in the run, I believe. so it'll climb up to get up here.
Oh, nice.
Alright.
That kick glitch to get over the fence is actually like really hard. And there's an alternative way to like climb over the fence. And
so we get out of bounds and then just fall and hit this checkpoint. And as soon as we hit the checkpoint, the level starts to load. But since we're falling, we just die when we hit it and respawn here. Which gives most of Chapter 3. I don't trust this.
Yeah, no.
If you do that quickly, you can get all the way down before the train comes, but our wall boosts were pretty bad there. Both of the trains in this level can be one-cycled, but probably won't get either at the moment. Well, that was an okay office, so I might get the next train one cycle. Yeah, should work.
Losing your signal.
Nope. Oh god.
That was close.
Yeah. You get by that train, you get sent to the door out of the office, which is dumb.
We lose like 20 seconds or something.
The old world record that Rec had a while ago died to that train. And we have a first-person auto-scroller, which is great. It's a good thing they didn't make this at all difficult, because we don't even try. The only part you have to worry about getting hit is when you're doing the jump to the other train. Because if you get hit in the middle of that, you basically just die. These are called chill strats. They don't do anything besides increase the risk that you'll die. Whoa! No!
Nice.
Oh my god. Please.
There's a train coming behind you. Get the hell out of there.
So what was supposed to happen is that just get pushed back by that sign.
Get any more trouble, the less time.
That was nice.
This kick glitch is pretty weird. He like kicks onto this invisible wall thing on this wall, and then you can just kick back down to the streets.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying.
It's a pretty big noob killer. And this is Chapter 5. This is my favorite level in the game. It's just pretty cool.
I used to really hate this level, but recently I've started liking it a lot more. With Chapter 5 is that instead of there being one or two big things that can kill your run, there's like 100 small things that can lose you time. So here, in that previous hallway, you might have noticed that I was going really slowly. That was to ensure that this elevator loads, because for some reason, if you go too quickly through the previous hallway, the elevator sometimes just doesn't load, and then you have to restart the entire chapter, which is really, really stupid, and happens to me way too much.
That pole kick is really awkward and it's terrible.
Yeah. A little bit worried considering I couldn't even get the one in Chapter 3. There we go. Right. We skipped the part with a guard spawn entirely, which is nice.
You're doing good. Small's just a few blocks
Here in this elevator, we do a very specific set of moves to, well, I was doing a very specific set of moves until I screwed it up. But there is a loading trigger that you need to hit, and normally you need to grab the pipes to do it. But by wall running right behind them, you can hit it as well. And then you can skip having to climb the pipes entirely. Can't skip climbing these pipes though.
You're close to the ball, Hayden.
I climb there, even though it's not hard. I always feel like I'm going to screw it up. Because it's a very specific sequence of button presses.
It bugged out. You should be able to get to the ball without being shot at.
But something in this game called a double wall or double kick glitch, essentially where you do two kick glitches off of the same wall. It's very precise because the jump off the first kick glitch can also get you a wall boost instead of a wall run if you do it too long. So getting a double kick glitch just requires you to scroll very lightly or just jump using spacebar, but that's too hard. Stuck in the door a little bit there. So coming up is the only well and truly one frame trick in the game. I actually have to do something on one frame.
Night.
Well, it should be just ahead of you.
You got
Getting flung out is one frame. Alright, third try is fine.
Alright. Everybody pray for my boy Flashy Nikwa, who can't do that trick for the life of him. He'll be flashy. Basically, he like, I don't even know how that trick works. It's called Beamer. Basically, he like, I don't know. He presses Q on a single frame and it flings him backwards, and he can grab a rail.
You press Q on the because when you do a wall climb and there's two sort of surfaces that are at different distances, like you'll sort of pop out when you're on the top one, and if you press Q on the frame that you sort of pop out, then you just get a crazy amount of backwards momentum. You can also do it with a side jump, but there's no point.
Yeah, Beamer skips going up an elevator. And just, yeah, saves like 20 seconds or something.
Chapter 6 is one of my worst chapters. It's not that hard, I'm just bad at it. So I'm going to do a small safe strat by grabbing this pole. Grabbing that pole sets a checkpoint. It makes it so that if I fail this, which I didn't, I would respawn there instead of at the beginning. Coming up is Chapter 6 skip, where instead of going through the whole factory entrance thing, which is really slow and really annoying, I just load directly into the factory if I didn't screw it up. I got scared there, and the first pause didn't load it. But yeah, we just get out of bounds and then jump into a loading trigger. And pause. And there we just hit a button through a wall, which lets us go through here. Nice. Actually, we found out that that button might be the reason that use glitch exists in the game, because there was a dev who apparently was trying to fix an issue where players could press her through a wall. And it's possible that from what he did, caused it so that multiple inputs on one frame cause buttons to just activate. We don't know actually a lot about some of the mechanics in this game. There's a lot of speculation. So this section can be really annoying when you play it casually, but thankfully there's an easy trick you can do to just get to the top.
The game can actually crash in this elevator right here, but it doesn't happen to some people at all. It happens to other people like all the time. Like it's really
crashes right when the loading thing pops up.
Yeah,
right, it did.
Here, we're good.
I've only gotten that crash, I think, twice, but for some people it happens a lot.
Yeah, I don't get it very often either.
There's a trick you can do here where you use a hidden springboard, but it's a little bit risky since if you fail it, which is very easy, you have to start the entire checkpoint over again. Anyways. You don't actually need to do anything there. She'll let go automatically.
I've actually let go of the zip line like too early and
yeah,
died. Not too fun.
That happened to me a couple times because you can let go of it slightly early to save a few frames. But when I was first starting to learn this game, doing that killed me a few times, and after that I said, no, I'm just gonna wait.
So the whole premise boat, but we skipped the boat completely by going out of bounds and like hitting the checkpoint for the final checkpoint of the level. And this level can be done under a minute, and it's relatively long without this skip, so there you go. He just climbs over that fence and just waits for the checkpoint to pop up. Then he's going to quit out and go back in. It's going to be the last checkpoint of the level.
Yeah. So that was the last checkpoint in the level. So by hitting it, we skipped the entire level, which is nice. Especially since there's a minute-long cutscene right at the beginning when you get in the truck, where you basically have to sit and wait for it to be brought into the boat. And thankfully, we don't have to sit through that. You do have to in Glitchless and No Out of Bounds and some of the other dumb categories. So Chapter 8 is another of my favorite chapters. It's because it's a lot of very precise movement, but it's very fun when you can do it correctly. It also has the atrium, which is very hard, but very fun. There's no point to go up this elevator, but you can, so I did.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Because that elevator is probably one of the easiest in the game to clip. Because some elevators are way harder than others to clip. Thankfully, that's one of the easier ones. Got a small out-of-bounds skip here. It skips going in the elevator. Hopefully I don't fail it, because if I do, I have to start the entire checkpoint over again.
Nice.
Alright. You can tell you've hit things if the circle pops up in the bottom left. So Atrium can go incredibly well or incredibly poorly. Alright, that's good. Out there is called Chimp Strats. Skips a bunch of the Atrium. getting out of bounds so I can skip the vents. If it'll let me get out of bounds. Oh my god. No, I'm just going to not do that. It's also risky because if you fail the final trick where you jump into the checkpoint, you have to start the entire atrium over again, which has led to me losing minutes on no reset runs in the past. It's one of those tricks, if you fail it once, you're going to fail it again 3 times. I lose a minute each time. Having to do the vents used to cost a lot of time, but there was another trick coming up that was found that makes it not as bad. Since you need to die basically as soon as you get into this room, and if you're already up high, you can just die immediately. Otherwise, you have to climb up and then jump off. So dying makes the truck that you need to shoot spawn early. Oh god, what happened? Okay. Thankfully, this building isn't entirely solid, so you can shoot the truck through the building and not have to wait for it. The setup I did was kind of slow, but it still worked. So you need to stand in a very precise position and shoot at a very precise point. Faith is not good at making tiny adjustments. Also, I'm going to die here.
Damn.
Guards were not nice.
Basically what he's doing here is he's like rolling off that edge thing right there.
Oh god, this is not good.
Cancel fall damage. Instead of just going down all the stairs, just falls down pretty quickly.
Alright, this is the final chapter in the game.
And objectively the worst.
It's pretty bad, yeah. Nice. Tried to get directly onto that pipe. It's kind of hard. Oh my god. Please. So here's another point where having free scroll saves time. By free scrolling that vent caused the fire to come early. Saves maybe 3 seconds. Also, rest in peace, headphone users. I always forget because on my game at home, I have the volume for that section set way down. Please.
You can go for super extended, or?
Yeah, I'll go for it once or twice.
All right.
I'm going to do a trick here. If I do it well, I'll skip the entirety of the elevator shaft. The section afterwards, but it's very hard. You have to do a very precise circle around like that, which went okay, but I think I left a tiny bit early. Might have worked. Looked kind of okay. Hey, it worked.
Nice. Right. That's like really hard. There's like an alternative version that's a little bit slower, where it just takes you about like halfway through the elevator shafts and not straight to this checkpoint.
Come on, like snipers, please.
40 seconds slower. All right, this is sniper skip. It's the worst skip in the game, and I hate it a lot.
It's easy, dude.
It's not easy. I've lost many runs to this. It's literally in the last like minute and a half of the game. But yeah, he just like grabs this light and just like jumps on top of the building and skips this like area where there's a bunch of snipers.
It's like I don't know if it's 1 pixel, but it's very, very narrow. There's a ledge you can run along. But since it's so narrow, the game just tries to push her off, so you have to keep jumping the entire well. Just take this nice elevator up, have a nice view of this city. Actually, it looks pretty good on high graphics, but these are not high graphics.
destroy those servers, their emergency protocol should automatically unlock the door. I hope. Good luck.
So here's the last trick of the game. Normally you have to run around, disarm guards, shoot these servers. Or you can just do that. That works too.
Here he's just gonna like quit out and then go back into the game, skip a cutscene.
Yeah, because there's like a minute-long cutscene that would normally play there. If you just quit out and reload, skip scene.
You're ready on time, by the way.
Yeah. Time ends as soon as I grab the helicopter. Another thing, if you go too quickly here, you can miss the helicopter, which is, you know, just great to happen at the end of a long run on PvP pace.
Nice, good job.
Your time was 40:58.
Oh, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting.
That might be better than my RTA PV.
You take those.
Maybe.
Chapter 3, I was expecting like a 43. This game does have a third-person mode you can access with binds, but I did not have time to find those binds.
It's great,
Which is unfortunate because this cutscene is amazing in third person. And that's Mirror's Edge. Shoutouts to the Mirror's Edge community, who is the best community.
True. Ooh.
Great ending song, by the way.
All right, next up we have Ryan Lockwood with GoldenEye 64. So just coming up. You have anything else to say before we cut?
I don't think so. Just go and check out the Mirror's Edge community. There's a lot of really great people who don't have nearly enough followers, such as Rek and Heki and Votium and Philotrax. Let's go check them all out.
Be sure to follow him at twitch.tv/SasukeAnimator. I'm sure his stream is great. And